Christmas. The final chapter. Finally. Roll the titles. Roll the titles. Okay, video guy, roll the titles.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome to BookTube with Simon and the 2020 Christmas Spectacular. I am so excited for all of the things that we've got lined up for you today. No matter where you are in the world, who you're spending Christmas with, this is going to be one of the weirdest Christmases I think any of us have ever had. There is no question that Christmas is very unusual this year, but that is why we have pulled out all the stops, my friends and I, to give you as much, free entertainment as possible. I mean, I can't promise it's going to be funny, and I can't promise it's going to be good, but it is going to be here. So that said, expectations low, can't be much disappointed. We have got an absolutely jam-packed lineup to hang out with you for a little while today and try and inject some sparkle and fun into Christmas Day for you. So, like I say, there's loads, so without any further ado, let's crack on. You've been waiting long enough, it's finally here. The Man in the Hat Part 3, the concluding episode. We review Scar by Alice Broadway, because we do sometimes actually still do book reviews around here. Mariana and the Bookettes are back with a festive performance that's going to get your bells jingling. We'll be sharing our answers to the Bookish Nativity Tag and reviewing some of yours. He promised dancing girls, flamethrowers and an escapologist. We can reveal for the first time that we are crossing over live to Kit's World in the Czech Republic for his Christmas Day special edition later today. We've got a festive Book 101 for you as we debate whether Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol should go into Book 101 or be relieved. It's been a bitter feud, but I speak to Ange with an E and we see if we can come to some sort of Christmas truce.
You're wearing the elf.
And we've got a very, very special Christmas address coming up from a mystery guest. But first things first, let's talk about books, specifically Scar by Alice Broadway. I've switched out my regular tea for hot cocoa with cream and marshmallows, and I am ready for a festive chat. I mean, it's not a festive book, to be fair, but you know, we are where we are. If you're strictly not a fantasy reader, then don't click away. There's loads still to come. So use this time to go and check that you've taken whatever it is out of the freezer that you need to have defrosted for Christmas dinner later on. There is something, definitely. There always is. Trust me, go and double check. The rest of us will continue talking. So, regular viewers, or even occasional viewers, may already know that I have reviewed the first two parts of Alice Broadway's series this year. The first one was Ink, and the second one was Scar. And now it's time to review the third and final part of this trilogy. Very briefly, we first met Leora in Ink, which is where we got to know her people, her society, where the custom is that all of your major life events plus whatever else you choose is marked on your skin as a tattoo. On your death, your skin is flayed and bound into a book, and it's weighed. If you've had a good life, then your family keep the book, you are on a shelf with your ancestors, and you're remembered. If you have lived a bad life, then you are incinerated, and that is the worst possible thing. You are forgotten and your soul is cast asunder. In the second book, Scar, we meet the other society, the Blanks, the arch rivals to the Marked. These people think that having pure skin is a good thing and it's a virtue, and they don't feel the need to mark their skin. They find it oppressive, and the two societies have been in conflict for a very, 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 very long time. We discover that Leora has been born of a marked father and a blank mother, and could very well be the catalyst for peace and tranquility. So, peace on earth for all men and women, and those who identify as neither gender. Seems like something that we could do with this Christmas. Which brings us, like I say, to the third part of the series. There was, for me, just one small problem with Scar Part 3, and it's this. It was atrocious. It was a complete waste of a Part 3. Now, if you think about other sort of sci-fi, dystopia, young adult fiction series, you're going in, let's face it, with some fairly hefty expectations. So The Hunger Games, a series I really enjoyed, the first cycle, the first book, you're reading about Katniss Everdeen going into the Hunger Games, and by the time you get to the third part, she's actually going into the capital, and the whole city is like an enormous Hunger Games. It really, really ups the ante and levels up. Harry Potter, by the time you get to the seventh book, not only is it about twice the length as all of the other books, but everything is far more dark and dramatic, and you have the Battle of Hogwarts, and everything culminates. Scar is about half the length of the first two books, which on its own doesn't make it a bad book, but it suggests that there's not a lot going to happen, and therefore why could we not have had a duology, a two-part series that was finished in book 2? And then we get to what actually happens in the book. And when I say not much, I do mean that. A lot of it is spent in dreamlike sequences. Can you imagine that if, you've read the first part, you've read the second part, you really want to know what happens, imagine if the whole thing is just a dream.
The Man in the Hat 3. Please listen to this in italics. The man in the hat went to sleep and dreamt about a hat wearing a man. And the man on top of the hat did things that made no sense because it's a dream. He just waved his hands about in italics and danced a bit in italics, and then the man in the hat woke up and said, "That was a funny dream," and then nothing happened. Repeat this for the next 5 minutes, and that's the end of the story. Click like.
Annoying, isn't it? Don't worry, part 3 is coming up soon. So I found that really frustrating, and when we left Leora at the end of the previous book, she just returned, witnessed the death and resurrection of the mayor, and was quite taken aback by that turn of events, and now she has been captured and is imprisoned. And of the few bits and pieces of plot that do actually emerge, they tend to centre around characters who have had a certain allegiance in books 1 and 2 just changing allegiance like that for no reason. There's no prompt. Nobody says, this is why I've changed my view on this. This is why I'm now on this side. And so as a result, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. They just change side. They're just on one side, and then suddenly everything's changed. I don't make sense. I'm just suddenly upside down. Pointless. You know, if you saw me climbing up the bookcase and dangling from the ceiling, then at least you would know he's about to dangle from the ceiling. As it happens, no such event. So that's annoying. What I liked, there were two things I really liked about the previous books that I just felt really, I was let down by the third part. So the first one is the characters. So now Leora herself, I mean, she's the generic, I'm your random, everyday, normal person who happens to have this fact / ability / secret / insight / chosen status, which means despite my normalness, I am the only person that can just change the world. But we met lots of other characters who were really quite compelling. Obel in the first book we met, who is the tattooist who has faked his own tattoos and is very brooding, and there seems to be quite a lot going on under there. And the second book, when you meet the blanks and spend a lot of time with the blank community, there are so many people in that community, and you know, they've got a totally different faith system, and the characters were really brilliant, and none of them feature. The only people who feature really in any significant way are Leora and the storyteller, Mel. Nobody else really features apart from the odd cameo here and there, which feels like such a sudden end to the character. I've really hurt my back. Couldn't catch it. It feels like such a sudden end to the character arcs. It really was. I mean, disappointing doesn't really even cover the sides. You've invested in these characters and then Shazam! Gone from the plot. No resolution. Particularly, I have to say, Gull, who is a girl that Leora meets in the blank community, who is sort of questioning her faith, I suppose, questioning the blank dogma and the blank theology all the way through the book, and then you know they grow very close over book 2, and there's kind of step backs when we discover, oh, actually she's a complete traitor, and all this kind of stuff, and then again she just vanishes stage left, makes a few cameos, and she seems like a completely different character. So I found that terrible. And then the other thing that I really liked about the previous books kind of follows on from that, which is both faith systems have been built up in a really believable way. The doctrine of why the marked people mark is really solid, and you know their culture is firmly embedded in that, as much as the blank community is as embedded in their belief system. And so for the two cultures and societies to merge, I mean, the question that we want answered in book 3 is, how is that going to happen? Is one going to concede that their generations worth of doctrine is wrong, and they're just going to adopt this faith that is sacrilegious to them until now? Or are they going to find a way to live together? Or is one of them just going to wipe the other out? And it's going to be a really brutal conclusion. And we didn't really get that answer, which was, the point. So if we didn't answer the question, why are we having this story? It would be like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory ending when he gets his golden ticket and arrives at the gates. It would be like Lord of the Flies ending when the plane crashes before they're actually on the desert island. It would be like Lord of the Rings finishing when they arrive at Mordor and go, right, here we are, Samwise. Time then, isn't it? Yes, Frodo, it's time. The end. This is the unmelted ring. My pointless. A way that books 1 and 2 showed us the faith system was through sort of parables or fairy tales or whatever you want to call them. So the first book was littered with all of these stories, which were all completely fictitious, written like a Grimm's fairy tale, in that sort of fairy tale language, but with a moral that underlined the way that the marked people thought. Plus a random retelling of Sleeping Beauty, which allowed me to play this clip.
Oh dear, what an awkward situation.
The second book told pretty much the same fairy tales, but flipped, so that the character that was the villain is now the protagonist of the fairy tale, and it has the opposite moral. So it was like a retelling, a remake, where the villain is suddenly the person you're rooting for. I didn't know that was going to happen, but by absolute good fortune it let me play this clip.
Oh dear, what an awkward situation.
And I was thinking to myself, what clip am I going to play for the third review? Well, I don't even know how all this is going to pan out. Well, it's easy. I'm not going to play a clip because nothing! If you're relatively new, then I should probably explain at this stage that to explain this concept of a fairy tale within the story, to explain the in-universe belief system, I created a terrible fairy tale of my own called The Man in the Hat. Once upon a time, there was a man who read a lot of books and always wore a hat. These facts aren't related, but conventions of fairy tale telling demand a useless descriptive fact. As the man was neither the wisest, nor the funniest, nor the strongest, nor the bravest, nor the most handsome, the fact that he always wore a hat will have to do. Now the man with the hat had finished his book and needed a new one to read. He searched and searched his bookcases for a book. Of all the books, one caught the eye of the man with the hat. It was shiny and glittery, with black and gold. It was shinier than all the rest. And as the man had been in lockdown for 8 weeks and hadn't seen sunlight, it was the closest he was likely to get to experiencing a walk in the park without being fined, infected, or Dominic Cummings. And so the man with the hat picked out the book and read it. He read it on the sofa, and he read it in the bath. Okay, we probably don't need to illustrate that. Let's just say he read it everywhere. He read the whole book from cover to cover. And when he was finished, the man with the hat had an idea. He decided to record his thoughts about the book and upload it to YouTube, which exists in this fairy tale the same way it does in your world, except without any clips of Lena Dunham, who doesn't. The man with the hat told the whole story, which culminated in him, of course, going on to YouTube to tell it again. And so began an infinite loop of doom. Yes, readers, because this fairy tale decided to become meta for comedy purposes, the man with the hat was cursed to forever live in his own narcissistic storybook loop, and he buffered sarcastically ever after. And for part 2, the man in the hat was then tricked by a genie.
The man in the hat was depressed. He was still trapped in his Silicon Valley tower, cursed to repeat his dreary tale on a permanent loop unless he could be rescued. Then, one day, for a reason I can't be bothered to explain, out of nowhere appeared an all-powerful genie. Genie!
I'm the genie.
said the genie.
Why do you look like somebody just sneezed in your cornflakes? Let me double check the terms. You don't share your password. Don't subscribe to Donald Trump. Ah, here we are. This is the ticket.
You've got a golden ticket.
It wasn't really funny the first time, to be fair.
Well, would you just get on with it?
Right. Yes. The Prince, or the Man in the Hat, can be released if we did another review and didn't make a weird meta-reference to uploading it to YouTube at the end.
That's it. Look, I've done that all along.
Yes. That's equal for you. Let you pretend that the plot hole was deliberate all along and we actually a sneaky setup for part 2. Here you go. Have the sequel to Ink. Try not to make such a pig's ear at this time.
Where's all my hair gone? And we left The Man in the Hat, no longer a cartoon, but betrayed by the genie. And this is what The Man in the Hat is all about. So we've got part 3 coming up to conclude The Man in the Hat, along with Scar. But unlike Scar, I have a plot full of holes, I grant you, but I have a plot. So stay tuned and I will show you what a part 3 should look like. It's difficult to have a favourite character when there are only 2 characters of substance in the whole book. Leora is not my favourite character because nothing she does is interesting, nothing she says is interesting, nothing about her is worth reading, so not her. And then Mel makes no sense. She just has a complete personality transplant between book 2 and 3 that is not explained. So neither of them are my favourite character. The only character I suppose that gave me any sort of sense of my ears perked up or eyes perked up. Can eyes perk up? That sounds pretty painful. Actually, can you imagine reading and then just your eyes perk up and it's just like, whoa! Oh, your eyes are perked up! Oh, that was a mistake. Anyways, I can't see you. Where have you gone? Hopefully you can still see me. So, the only character I guess I like is Minnow, because he's trying to, destroy Leora's life, which by this stage I'm backing him. Like, please do. And even he has some really weird backstory that just appears out of nowhere, that goes nowhere, Then, of course, let's talk about the ending briefly, and I'm not going to give you any spoilers because, quite frankly, there's nothing to spoil. It's a non-event. She spends the whole time, as I say, dreaming with people with personality transplants. But we get to the end, and they want to capture her, and then when they're able to capture her, they decide to let her go for some contrived, ridiculous reason. So we get another couple of dream sequences before they try and capture her again. You're like, just capture her, just kill her for the love of Pete, just end this. The shortest book, and it feels like it takes 10 times as long for anything to happen. And then the ending itself is just... Ooh. I can only describe it as this. You are in a shopping centre. In fact, close your eyes. You're as blind as I am now. You're in a shopping centre. You're walking to the checkout. You feel that gurgle in your stomach and you realise, I really need a poo. And I need it straight away. You're in the queue. You can't leave the queue. You need these things that you're buying. You're going to miss the bus. There's a reason you're in the queue. You get to the front of the queue, you pay. Oh, my contactless machine isn't working. dang it. So you have to use your pen. You've forgotten your pen. The pen's wrong. Oh, it's a panic. Oh, your butt cheeks are starting to squelch together. You manage to type in your pen. You get the thing. Do you want your receipt? No, it's fine. Here's your receipt. There you go. Then she's trying to pack your bag. I'll pack the bag. Then you get out. You go to the escalator. The escalator isn't working and there's a barrier across it. So you've got to run all the way around to the other side to get to the stairs. You go down the stairs. There's a queue. You wait in the queue. You get in. You shut the cubicle door. You can't get your button undone because you're in such a rush and it's a stiff button and you've ripped your zip, and that's going to be Anna. That is going to be an awkward situation after this is finished. You get there, you sit down, you're ready for the big finale, and it's just a fart. That is this. It's just a bunch of tropes chucked in. Like, clearly what has happened here is Alice Broadway has gone, I have a wonderful, wonderful dilemma to write about. Book 1, one side. Book 2, the other side. How am I going to conclude this? I can't. Let's just give her an LSD trip and call it a day. And that is essentially how it ends up. That's it. That's what happens. So this is the part where I would normally say, if I was making this into a movie, this is who I would cast in different roles. But I've done this for parts 1 and 2, and there were no characters in part 3, so I've nothing to add that's new. But you might remember in part 2, for one of the best roles, to be honest, I said if I was going to cast this movie, I would cast Diana Rigg in the role. And as we all know, Dame Diana Rigg passed away since we've recorded the second instalment. And so it just felt to wrap this series up, because she's been part of this experience in my head, if no one else, and especially on Christmas Day, to wrap this series up, I really just wanted to take a second to say, Diana Rigg, what a legend.
Bring me some cheese.
The cheese will be served after the cakes, my lady.
The cheese will be served when I want it served, and I want it served now.
Absolute legend. She is going to be really, really missed. Let's rate it. Yeah, exactly what you'd expect. If you went to all that effort to do a poo and just managed to rustle up a fart, you would do exactly the same thing. Oops. So, I took my glasses on. This is a disaster. That's it. That's my review. Full of tropes that add nothing. This random boy she fancies, that she has about 10 lines of dialogue with, who has the personality of a dead fish that goes nowhere. Pointless trope. The fact that she's got this weird backstory that makes her invaluable to the conclusion, where actually she has nothing to do with the conclusion. She's passed out by this point. She actually has nothing to do with it. We've been following the wrong character the whole time. The whole thing sucks. The whole thing sucks. It's just a bunch of tropes cobbled together, and I'm so disappointed because it should have been so much better. But that's tropes. Too many tropes spoil the turkey. So if you have just come back from taking something out of the freezer, hopefully it wasn't the turkey, because it should have been out last night at the earliest, at the latest. And don't put tropes in it. Don't put tropes in it. Or cranberries, by the way. Cranberries in turkey, not natural. But speaking of tropes, that brings us nicely to the next item on today's Christmas cracker of an agenda. Yes, as we all know with young adult fiction, it is very trope heavy. Good authors use the tropes to their advantage, bad authors don't. But the tropes are here to stay, and they will continue to permeate young adult fiction for, you know, a long time, I'm sure. So as a special treat in recognition of this genre, I'm not going to sing. That's your first Christmas treat, but I'll tell you who is. I am delighted to welcome back for your festive viewing pleasure, Mariana and the Bookettes, with a very Christmassy song about young adult tropes. Do sing along.
The first drop of wine the author gave to me, a protagonist who is the chosen one. The second drop of wine the author gave to me, two potential boyfriends and a protagonist who is the chosen one. The third drop of wine the author gave to me, 3-part series, two potential boyfriends and a protagonist who is the chosen one. The fourth drop of wine the author gave to me, 4 different houses, 3-part series, two potential boyfriends and a protagonist who is the chosen one. The fifth drop of wine the author gave to me, 5 movie deal, 4 different houses, 3-part series, two potential boyfriends and a protagonist who is the chosen one. The sixth drop of wine the author gave to me, 6 dead relatives, 5 movie deal, 4 different houses, 3-part series, two potential boyfriends and a protagonist who is the chosen one. The seventh drop of wine the author gave to me, 7 layers of government, 6 dead relatives, 5 movie deal, 4 different houses, 3-part series, two potential boyfriends and a protagonist who is the chosen one. The eighth drop of wine the author gave to me, 8 Richards a dying, 7 layers of government, 6 dead relatives, 5 movie deal, 4 different houses, 3-part series, two potential boyfriends and a protagonist who is the chosen one. The ninth drop of wine the author gave to me, 9 7 long journeys, 8 Richards a dying, 7 layers of government, 6 dead relatives, 5 movie deal, 4 different houses, 3-part series, two potential boyfriends and a protagonist who is the chosen one. The 10th drop of wine the author gave to me, 10 traumatic backstories, 9 is a long journey, 8 Richards a dying, 7 layers of government, 6 dead relatives, 5 movie deal, 4 different houses, 3-part series, two potential boyfriends and a protagonist who is the chosen one. The 11th drop of wine the author gave to me, 11 more or less than 10 traumatic backstories, 9 is 7 long journeys, 8 Richards a dying, 7 layers of government, 6 dead relatives, 5 movie deal, 4 different houses, 3-part series, two potential boyfriends and a protagonist who is the chosen one. The 12th drop of wine the author gave to me, 12 cringy pep talks, 11 more or less than 10 traumatic backstories, 9 and 7 long journeys, 10 Richards a dying, 7 layers of government, 6 dead relatives, 5 movie deal, 4 different houses, 3-part series, two potential boyfriends and a protagonist who is the chosen one.
Now, I've just sorry, I'm just receiving information that we are not going to be crossing over live to Kit. I believe there's been some sort of incident. They're struggling to get in contact with him. We're going to have something, I understand, but there is I think Kit might be dead. Sorry, that was probably quite blunt. I should have prepared you for that announcement. Kit may have died. So I'm going to go and address that situation. And while I do, here's Amy with the Bookish Nativity Tag. What do you mean he's died? For goodness sake, how inconsiderate, stupid man.
Hello and Merry Christmas. This is the Bookish Nativity Tag. I'm taking this section of the Christmas Day special. So first prompt is Mary, so the normal yet chosen protagonist. And for this one I've picked Mayor Barrow from The Red Queen. So Red Queen is sort of a dystopian fantasy novel, follows your standard. There's two sections. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the fingers. There's two factions of society, the reds and the silvers. People with red blood are sort of your lower class, and your people with silver blood have magical powers, therefore enslave the red bloods basically because they have no way to stand up against them. Mayor Barrow is just your standard teenage girl, and then figures out that she is a red blood with silver powers, and she leads a mass rebellion. So yeah, just your standard teenage girl with mystical powers and changes the world. Same as every other YA fantasy book ever written. I would love a fantasy book where it's a granny changing the world. Like, she's 88, she's sitting doing her knitting, something happens and she's like, well lads, time to strap in and save the world, and she's just like so over everything because she's so long in the tooth. That's what I want to read next in a fantasy. Next prompt is your Joseph, your most loyal sidekick. So I've cheated a wee bit with this one, and I have a few. So first up is Samwise Gamgee for Lord of the Rings, classic. Next up is Samuel Tarly from Game of Thrones, again another absolute legend. Then we've got Sam Courtland from Assassin's Blade, again really loyal. And then we've actually got Sam Merlot for the Suki Stackhouse books, and then I feel like basically any Sam is a loyal sidekick. And although technically no a book, I can't talk about Sam's and no mention Sammy Winchester, who is like loyal AF to Dean, and just brilliant. So yeah, basically any Sam is going to be a great loyal sidekick. So if you are a Sam or you have a Sam in your life, you're pretty much sorted. So next up is wise men, so people who are going to give you great advice. So for me, three people sprung to mind right away. So first of all, Tyrion for Game of Thrones, what a legend. Has some of the best lines and will always just tell you how it is, even if it's hard to hear. So I think he would give you absolutely great advice. Next up would be Dumbledore from the Harry Potter series. Again, great lines, and he talks Harry through any situation that he needs, gives him a wee bit hope, gives him a wee bit wisdom. And then last up is Gandalf for Lord of the Rings, who's just an all-round badass and you would want on your side giving you advice. And I think that the three of them together would just be phenomenal. If I was to be cast in a fantasy book, that's who I would want to have my wise men. Next up is Gabriel, so a character who kicks off the story and then completely disappears. And this one's not strictly fantasy, so cheating a wee bit because I'm not sticking to the one genre. But for me, it's Zampano from House of Leaves. So House of Leaves is basically a bit of a three-way story. So our main character is looking for an apartment to rent and finds the apartment of this guy who's just died, Zampano, and Zampano's apartment is filled with notes. Any surface that has blank space on it to be written on, it is written on. His fridge is crammed with the notes, his cupboards are crammed with the notes. And the book follows the story of your main protagonist discovering all of these notes. So you've got his story discovering it, and then you've got all of Zampano's research that you're reading through as well. And his research is all on a documentary maker who moved into a house, and the house seems to be changing shape. So you've got the original story as well. And the book basically wouldn't happen if it wasn't for Zampano, because it's all his research that has given us this narrative, and it's all his hard work. So he's sort of dead, so I don't really know if that classes as kicking off and then leaving because he's dead for the get-go, but I still think it counts. An absolutely amazing book, by the way, so definitely check it out if you haven't. Next up is Herod, so the most evil villain, and I struggled a wee bit with this one, to be honest, because I quite like a villain. I always find some sort of redeeming quality in them. I always find them to be a bit misunderstood, so a lot of the villains that I read I tend to end up quite liking, or I can understand the reasonings behind their actions, which I don't mind. But one villain that I cannot get on board with is Arabin Hamel from the Throne of Glass series. Absolute ball bag. Sorry, I'm trying not to swear. Absolute idiot. Detest him. I just recently read Assassin's Blade and my blood is still boiling having to think about him. What an absolute betrayal. No spoilers, but just a shocking character. Absolutely gutted. So no redeeming qualities there. He's just an absolute tosser. Next up is the baby Jesus, so a main character who has little page time, and for me I picked Smaug from The Hobbit because, you know, a lot of the book is leading up to them obviously meeting Smaug, and you know, he's spoken about all throughout the book, and then there's no really a lot of him by the time that you get to that point in the book. So yeah, Smaug is my baby Jesus, which is maybe the weirdest sentence I've ever had to say, but how cute would that be though? Like, la la la, saviour's born, following a star, you rock up and it's a wee baby dragon. Next up is your shepherd, so the character who seems important but doesn't do much. So for this one, I picked Edmund from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Bit of an annoyance. I feel like he's one of these ones who's a wee bit rebellious just for the sake of it, and I know that he kicks off a lot of the main plot line by being a little shit. Oh, they're quite giving a language. By being a little torag, but I don't feel like he really does as much as the others in the book. I almost feel like he's just a bit of a secondary character, and I know he's held in captivity for a while, so it might not be his fault, but I just felt like he didn't really do much considering the amount that all the other characters managed to achieve within the book. So yep. And then last up is the innkeeper, so a character with the most famous line, and for me it's Hodor. Oh, what a legend. So his name's Hodor, all he says is Hodor, and then the reveal of what Hodor actually means, still gets me sobbing, real ugly crying. It's like that Kim Kardashian meme. That was me when we found out. So yeah, Hodor has the most famous line for me from the Game of Thrones series.
Yep, thank you for letting me know. I will be in touch. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Oh, by the way, can you get the chocolates that I sent him for Christmas back to me, because he's not going to need them now, is he? Haha, smashing. Right, okay, so that was Kit's production team. We have got some footage. I can confirm Kit is well, not okay, but it's okay because we've got something to show everyone, so that's all that matters. You've been doing the nativity tag.
I have, yes.
Well, in that case, hi, I'm not Scott.
I'm not Nell.
And we're not Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, but we're going to nick their idea, because when they did the DNF tag, they got together afterwards and summarised everybody's contributions and sent me off in the direction of wonderful booktubers that I'd never watched before that had some really fantastic responses to their tag. So I did the same. Now, doing this right before Christmas was maybe a flaw, because it didn't give people much opportunity to get it in before. I mean, it's not topical after today, is it? So
no, it needed to be done before Christmas.
But there were some pretty good ones, some pretty different ones. So Scott and Nell themselves, their Bookish Nativity Tag answer is great. We learn all sorts of things. We learn that Patrick Bateman votes Republican. What else do we learn? Probably my favourite ever line on BookTube so far is "put that in your manger," which is fantastic.
It was hysterical. I was giggling at that.
But it was interesting because they chose characters that they liked for roles that they thought were positive roles, and characters that they didn't like. Obviously Herod, you're not supposed to like Herod, but
no.
And somebody in the comments suggested that Dracula could be Herod. No, Dracula could be Gabriel. No, Dracula could be Jesus, because people already worship him.
It's a fair point.
Dracula could play all the parts in the nativity.
I'd be up for that.
That would be interesting. A Dracula nativity.
Bram Stoker's nativity. Is that sacrilegious?
I look more like a rabbit than a vampire there.
You do. More Bugs Bunny than...
I'm never gonna get tagged again.
So Kieran from KD Books, I laughed a lot at his because it was the most disinterested attempt at a tag I've ever seen. He clearly didn't want to do it, had no real interest in it, but just kind of went along with it anyway, which, I mean, that's a level of honesty I admire, because we've all been tagged in that one tag that you just don't want to do, with the questions that are not inspiring, but you feel obligated to do it because of, you want to not offend the person that tagged you. So you've got to try and make this video interesting when you yourself are bored and dying on the inside. So the fact that he was just quite honest about his complete lack of interest made it hilarious. And he just talked about whales and poo.
As you do,
which,
really.
Obviously, when you think of the nativity, that's what you think about. A whale doing an enormous jobby.
Oh, whale poo. I thought you meant Wales as in the country and poo as in two separate topics of conversation.
No, that's not what I meant.
Right. Be clearer.
Whale. But funnily enough, he mentioned some of my favourite books by accident, because he was googling the answers to the tag. But Gone Girl, probably I'm going to say my favourite book.
I would say it was your
of all time.
Yeah.
I really like Gone Girl. He mentioned the 100-year-old man who jumped out of the window and ran away, climbed out of the window, somehow exited the window, which again, one of my favourite books. I would also say literary fiction, which Big Agnes Ecclefeckin McDougall says I don't read. That was cracking. And he mentioned Macbeth, which is my favourite Shakespeare of all time. So for knocking out 3 of my favourite books like that deserves some credit. And then Kit's World. Kit went through wasn't a book, it was a series of books, but he cast all of the roles from this one book, which was a different way to do it.
It was very interesting.
It was very interesting because I thought you got to learn a lot about that particular series and about those characters, so I really wanted to read it. And it's not the type of book that I would ordinarily read, but it was I do want to, having read that and sort of seen how passionate he was about all of these characters. He just really brought the world to life, talking about all of these characters in that way. So I definitely want to read that. Obviously, as we know, Kit began his video taking the mickey out of me, and the fact that we're doing a Christmas spectacular by discussing his Christmas special, which we have been trying to get in touch with him all day to watch.
So, hiding off in the trees over yonder are 500 dancing girls, a sword swallower, and an escapologist. And put that in your pipe and smoke it, Simon. So those are going to be some of the featured acts in my Christmas Day special. And I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but as a bit of a spoiler, Jesus himself might be making a guest appearance. But I'll say no more about that for now.
So as I was just saying there, there's probably a nice segue into the fact that we do now have footage of Kit. Now he's not in Hungary, which is part of the reason that we haven't been able to locate him there. He's passed through Hungary, and well, probably the best thing to do is just to watch this. Trigger warning, it's very upsetting.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm no longer in the Czech Republic. I've crossed over into Transylvania. I made a 1,200 kilometre journey through Hungary wearing nothing but sandals and a thong, for one simple yet very important reason. BookTube with Simon disagrees with my opinion about Dracula. So obviously there was only one rational course of action. Travel to Transylvania, visit Dracula's home, Bram Castle, where I can ask the big man himself what he really thinks about reading other people's journals. And hopefully that will put the whole matter to rest and prove Simon wrong, because frankly he's a smug ginger git and he needs putting in his place. But we like him. No, we don't. He's far too clever for his own good. But he inspires us. No, he doesn't. He makes us have to work harder. Look at where we are. Cold, wet, miserable, surrounded by ravening wolves, and it's all his fault. But we want to be his friend. No, we don't. He's a four-eyed ginger tosser. He's got ginger hair underneath his underwear. Not fair. Not fair. And he's trying to steal Dina from us. No, he's not. We're all friends together. No, he's stealing her, and he can't even pronounce her name properly. Well, he is Scottish. That's no excuse, and don't even get me started on haggis. But you like haggis? Shh! Someone's coming. Run!
I can confirm that no kits were harmed in the making of that clip, but what a legend. Do subscribe, please. Go to Kit's World right now and click the button. In fact, let's just give you a second. Nothing's going to happen. Go subscribe. Okay, Okay, so you've subscribed. Good. Merry Christmas, Kit. Thank you for doing that. Now, let's crack on. Book 101. Thank you so much for your comments on our Book 101 video recently. We thought that we would sneak another one in today. It's Christmas, so it's A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Let's go for it.
This review features unpopular opinions about a classic book which you may be fond of.
So you probably know by now that Amy loves reading the classics. I recognise them for what they are, dull. And so in this series, Amy tries to persuade me not to put a classic book into Book 101, where it will be forever damned. And being Christmas Day, we are going to be discussing Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol.
Classic.
So I have got some quick fire reasons why I think we should put this into Book 101.
Okay.
And you have about 30 seconds to persuade me that I'm wrong.
30 seconds?
It's a jam-packed schedule. People are wanting to see the Man in the Hat.
No, I know, but 30 seconds.
The turkey's going to get dry.
I give her for ages.
Yeah, but
I can't do concise.
Focus.
That's why I like classics.
Okay, my first reason why, I mean, for everyone I'm sure has, if you've not read A Christmas Carol, I'm sure you're likely to be aware of A Christmas Carol. Ebenezer Scrooge, miserly old bugger. Aye. He's playing the part of Zero in today's episode. He has a dream where he's visited by the ghosts of Christmases past, present and future, who show him the impact of his greed, and lest he end up cursed to roam the world like Marley with chains attached to him because of his greed, he has one opportunity to change his ways, and at the end of the dreams, as we all know, he's a changed man. So my first reason why this book should go into Book 101, you're really disrupting everything at the moment, aren't you? The first reason...
Christmas Day is excited, Santa Claus has been...
The first reason why this book should go into Book 101 is because Scrooge has not changed. He is still a selfish old bugger.
How?
Because he sees Tiny Tim and the fact that Tiny Tim is going to die and is very ill, and he sees his family having a big meal without him. But what are the things that affect Scrooge the most? It's the way that he is described. It is the way that people rejoice when he's dead because they've got more time to put their finances in order. And finally, it is his own coffin. So he doesn't actually become a reformed character because he wants to help other people. He becomes a reformed character because it's in his own interests not to have the fate that is visited upon him. So instead of being greedy with money, he is now greedy with something else that he has decided means more to him. So this is simply a tale of reprioritizing your selfishness.
I don't think so. I think ultimately, like, I know what you're saying, like the last scene's him seeing his coffin and then he comes to and he's like, oh, I better be good now. But like, I think that it is a combination of everything that he has seen and everything that he has witnessed, and nobody wants to think that people are talking bad about them, and he's just realised that the reason that people are saying these things about him is because he's been acting a certain way and now he doesn't want to act that certain way, and Tiny Tim dies, like, and that's obviously going to be very, very sad, so he tries to give him the best quality of life that he possibly can, like, for the end of his time. And I think if he was truly selfish, then he just wouldn't bother, because he'd be like, he's going to peg it anyway, so what's the point? Oh, peg it. I didn't mean that because he peg leg. Oh, cut that out. He's going to die anyway. but he still goes out his way to try and make him have a nice Christmas and be a part of his life even though he's going to die. And I think that if he was still truly a selfish person, then he wouldn't bother doing that.
No, but the whole thing about the reason his character changes is motivated fundamentally by self-interest. It's like if I robbed a bank every weekend, which I don't, I do it on a Tuesday because the police are busier on Tuesdays. If I robbed a bank every weekend and then the police came to the door and said, right, we have all this evidence, if you rob another bank you're going to jail. If I decided to stop robbing banks to not go to jail, that doesn't mean that this is a heartwarming tale of me changing my ways. It means I don't want to get nervous every time I drop the soap for the rest of my life.
But that's the whole purpose of the book.
Reprioritising your selfishness. Okay, so we're agreed on that point.
I don't
we're
think
moving
it is
on. We're moving on.
selfishness.
My next point. This does not convey the spirit of Christmas as it is described as doing. It is the spirit of consumerism, because when he comes round in his newly reorganised selfishness way, he buys not an appropriately sized turkey, but the biggest turkey in the shop. So he decides that the only way to show his reformed character is not to buy an appropriately sized turkey for his diners, but the biggest turkey, spend the most money in excess, i.e. turkey they probably don't need. This is promoting rank consumerism, as it would do, since it was written by a man who'd already written about 6 books by this point.
I think your point is almost as inflated as the size of the turkey. The point is that he was giving it to Bob and his family, and they have a big family, so he was like, go and get this turkey that everybody's coveted. Like, I think it was a nice gesture, and it's no focusing so much on the consumerism side of it.
But the gesture is here is an oversized turkey.
To be fair,
that
I
you
don't think
need.
it would be oversized for Bob's family, because I think like everybody, they would eat it on Christmas and then Boxing Day and then probably turkey sandwiches the day after. Like, it wasn't like he was buying this huge turkey just for himself. Like, he was buying it for a full family, a full house full of people.
And were there spare turkeys kicking about on Christmas Day, or did some other family have to go without a turkey because Scrooge wanted to be the good guy all of a sudden?
I mean, I think they would have probably ordered it in the butcher's in advance, and that this turkey was left over in the window because of the sheer size of it. Nobody had ordered it, otherwise the butcher wouldn't have sold it to them. However, I wasn't a butcher in the Victorian era, so I didn't really know their ordering system, but that's just my assumption.
Okay, fine. I would also like to say that this is well, I mean, this is not necessarily a reason for it to go into Book 101, but it's celebrated as being this wonderful socialist, maybe even communist book about sharing our resources and pooling everything that we have. I would say actually that is a conservative, Republican, right-wing book.
Political Dickens.
Because he decides that to help the poor, he must make a contribution to do that. He did not decide to campaign his MP.
Did they even have MPs in these times?
They did.
Are you sure though?
The House of Commons is very old.
Aye, but like, I doubt there was a proper parliament when bairns were in workhouses, Simon.
Was there a government or not?
I don't know.
Was there a queen or not?
I don't know.
You don't know if there's a queen in Victorian times.
Aye, Queen Victoria.
The point is, this goes against everything Marcus Rashford stands for with the free school meals. He's been out there telling the government, hey government, you need to get involved and help these poor kids eat food. And he's saying, no you don't.
Yes, but
because I'm going to plug the gaps, so
but did Marcus
forget
Rashford
the welfare state.
not also say, here by the way I'll pay for it, so your point's moot because he did exactly the same?
He didn't pay for it all.
No, but that was his point though, like, he was going to make a huge contribution as well, and I don't think that there is anything wrong with making contributions if people need it.
But you accept that he's not putting any emphasis on a system that supports the poor.
No, I don't think he is, but I don't think
it's
that
white
is
saviorism.
the purpose of the book at all.
Scrooge is basically
I don't think you can
Stacey Dooley.
No, I hate that you're like wiggling this about like it's a piece of shit, because it is so good. Like, you can't call it white saviour when like there's 7 white people in the Victorian era.
So what's your problem? That he's not helping black people now?
Oh no, I think that you're reading far too politically into that.
Alright, let's move on.
That was a shit.
Let's move on from the politics. This whole thing is very cynically put together.
How?
Because you may or may not know that when A Christmas Carol about being good to the poor at Christmas was first published, it was published with heavy, thick paper and gold corner plates, and it was a very expensive book. So poor people couldn't actually afford it. And if Dickens really wanted to be charitable and make a difference, as he claimed to want to do when he wrote it, why would he have not ensured that it was published on cheap paper in the budget of people who might have been uplifted by this story?
That's a fair point.
Oh. So, putting it all together, I don't really know if this deserves its liberation.
It does, and here I'll tell you for why. So, again, like we spoke about in the Frankenstein video, severely relatable. There's so much hate in today's society, whether it's transphobia, homophobia, racism, just to name a few, and there's a lot of people in the older generations who are like transphobic or racist or homophobic or whatever, and people go, oh, it's just because that's how it was in their day, it's just the way that generation, which is my personal fucking bugbear. And this just goes to show you that you're never too old to change. Like, it doesn't matter what opinions you've held in the past, how you've chosen to live your life, something can happen, and just by having an act of kindness, you can totally change the way that people see you. Kindness is magic. And that's what this is about, and Christmas is magic.
We do have to take one more thing into account,
right,
before we make a ruling on this, and that is it's possible that Nell of Gunpowder Fiction and Plot is watching, and for anybody who hasn't picked up on this, Nell is, I think it's fair to say that Dickens is not near the top of her list of books that she would take to a desert island. And this is Christmas Day, and so we want to be nice to Nell, don't we, and give her a Christmas present.
Oh, so what, are you going to guilt me into putting it into book 101 for Nell?
Well, Nell has made a point about this book though as well, and I think that what she wants us to do is to put it into 101, but I'm not sure that that is actually going to make her happy in the long run. Because at least twice Nell has said to me that this is her favourite Charles Dickens book, because it is the best Charles Dickens book, and it is the best Charles Dickens book because it is the shortest. So if we put this into book 101 and obliterate the shortest Dickens book, then we live in a world, we create a world where the shortest Charles Dickens book is considerably longer than it was before this exercise. So after due consideration, notwithstanding the cynical, commercial, anti-welfare state, consumerist and unreformed character problems with the book,
Completely disagree.
Notwithstanding all that, in the spirit of Christmas and in the spirit of peace and goodwill to all men, I've found a compromise position.
Right.
Which is this. First up, we're not putting A Christmas Carol into book 101.
because it's fabulous.
But for Nell, I have the longest Charles Dickens book here. Now, by page count, it's Bleak House. By word count, it's Nicholas Nickleby. Bleak House was the only one I could get ordered in time for Christmas, so we've got Bleak House, which is the longest by page count. This is the longest Charles Dickens book, so for Nell, and frankly all readers everywhere, we're going to make this a world where the longest Charles Dickens book doesn't exist. Therefore, every book, once averaged, is, you know, Charles Dickens is a shorter book writer. So Bleak House is going into book 101, and we're never going to read it. It's going in.
But you've never even read Bleak House.
And never will we. It's gone.
Well, I kind of want to read it
You
now.
can't. It's gone. That's the point of this. It's gone. So Merry Christmas. Now, thank you to everybody who commented on our last Book 101 with suggestions for what we should read. There were some really good suggestions, and by good suggestions I mean she went, oh great, and I went, oh god, which means it's probably right on the money. So we are going to read the ones you've suggested in the next couple of months, so stay tuned. We're going to be doing Little Women by, is it Mary Alcott?
Louisa May Alcott.
Louisa May Alcott. Little Women coming up. There's a no particular order. We've got Les Mis was another suggestion from, I think was that Kieran from KD Books suggested it. He called it a pamphlet. And I do actually believe that Kieran is going to be doing a read-along of Les Mis, so if you want to do a read-along of Les Mis with Kieran, then this is a good time to do it, because then when I decide that it's awful, you will be able to join in the debate and have a view on it. One more page. Oh, we could do a musical book 101. We won't.
Wow.
We won't. It's okay. We're going to be doing Crime and Punishment by Crime and Punishment by Fider. We're going to do Crime and Punishment.
Dostoevsky.
Aye, and we are going to do Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, which I have to say, most ironic title ever, because
You do not.
expectations I have are far from great. So that's all coming up in the new year for Book 2021. Now, since we're all talking about peace and goodwill and coming together and all this sort of stuff, it's now time to resolve the debate that has torn BookTube apart this year. I'm talking about Shuggate. This is the time. So Andrew and E and I have decided on Christmas Day it is time to end the feud and make peace. This is Shuggate.
Shuggy bean, shuggy bean. You're putting that in there, yeah?
Yep.
I can't believe you're putting Bleak House in 101 before you've even read it.
Go on.
Well, I've never read it and I might. So I'll be coming right back out.
We put it back in again after you've read it.
That's true.
Previously in Shuggate. Ange showed Simon page 112 of a book. Simon said it was
really boring.
The book turned out to be
the Booker Prize winner of 2020, Shuggy Bean by Douglas Stewart.
Ange was cross and kept playing this and trolling Simon, even creating a video.
Stewart, and with an Shuggy Bean.
Ange claimed Simon was bullying her and launched a campaign to
save Simon,
before being revealed as secretly ranting.
Idiot. Yeah, well, what was the balance of probability that Simon, bring it on.
Simon revealed the reason that Ange was taking all so personally was actually because
Ange is Scottish.
Ange went on the counter-attack, claiming that Simon was
Merry Christmas, Lord Rumpel.
Alright, Big Agnes, how's it going?
I can't believe you didn't know that was the name in the book either.
Well, why would I? I mean, it was only one page that I read. Was Agnes on the page? Like,
It was. It is.
I mean, no wonder I forgot, though. I mean, really, when you read that section on the video, that lasted for about a year. Okay.
Agnes.
All right. Very good. Well, that is another reason why you obviously identify so much with this pile of rubbish. So, what did Santa leave under your tree this year? Coal. Another copy of Shuggy Bean.
To make my dream bookcase.
Okay, well, I have to say, reviewing this whole Shuggate phenomenon, your conduct's been appalling. I mean, you said, do you want to read page 112 and give me your thoughts? And in good faith, I did. And since then, you've done nothing but persecute me for daring to have a different opinion because of your...
I didn't say that. I just said that I couldn't believe you didn't want to.
Well, I didn't want to because it was atrocious.
Yes, but now you've made people think that I know all about technology. So people keep asking me about TikTok and I don't even know what TikTok is. I had to get my 10-year-old to explain it to me.
Well, I think we know you know what TikTok is because of that video.
With a Shuggy Bean by Douglas Stewart. And with a... How does Amy live with you 24/7?
You've been trolling me. You've been
that was
mean
your
to me.
skills.
You've accused me of being a laird. We can't go on like this.
That was funny.
This is ripping the BookTube community in half.
I know. I have a feeling Scott and Nell may end up being divorced. Switzerland.
Well, we can't have that in our conference. This isn't Easter. We can't have a Christmas Day divorce.
No, we can't. We need to save Scott and Nell.
How
have a
can we
truce.
save Scott and Nell?
We need to have a truce.
But how can we have a truce? Will you finally just accept you're Scottish and Suggy Bean?
I'll accept I'm Scottish
Thank
if you read Shuggy Bean and then give your opinion of Shuggy Bean. And I will accept that opinion because you will have read all, how many pages? I just have to check. Because I love it that much. All 400, is that 50 or 30? All 430 pages.
Does each of those 430 pages take you the 15 minutes to get through that page 112 did in your video?
And if you don't cry.
Okay, so if I read the book, you will accept my opinion, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
And do you think page 112...
I solemnly declare.
Do you think page 112 is representative of the quality of the whole book? If you had read only page 112, would you want to read the rest?
Yes.
That bodes well. All right. In the spirit of Christmas, and because I like Scott and Nell more than I like you, I will save their marriage, and we can read Shuggy Bean together with an open mind, and then we agree to either agree or disagree on the outcome.
Yes. Shake hands.
Shuggy Bean, Shuggy Bean.
And with an E. And with an E.
Can't believe you don't want to read the Booker Prize winner.
Amy's a better booktuber than you.
And
Amy's my favourite booktuber.
In the house.
And with an E.
Can't believe you call yourself a booktuber. Have a very Merry Christmas and a much more pleasant and kind New Year.
I'm looking forward to the New Year now.
Hi.
I get to read it again.
Hang up.
With an A. Shuggy Bean by Douglas Stewart. And with an A.
Of course, now that we're friends, she can't try and get revenge on me for anything else that I've done in the meantime, like this. That's gonna make one heck of a mess. But just to prove it, here is the real thing, Shuggy Bane, that I will be reading with Ange in the new year. So please do pop over to Ange with an E and subscribe to her, and you can find out how we got on reading this together. Right, well, it's nearly time for Man in the Hat 3, but before we do that, we wanted to bring you a really special Christmas message from a very, very important person. Now, the reason that we're doing this is because today, the point of this Christmas spectacular is to bring some nonsense and laughter to your day in any way possible, but this is a really weird Christmas. It's been a really weird year, and today's a really weird Christmas, and for lots of us, actually, this will be the toughest Christmas that a lot of us have ever endured, actually, because many of us are separated from the people that we would normally choose to spend the day with. When I reviewed Eleanor Oliphant earlier this year and brought up a bit of a conversation about mental health, I was surprised that some of you really did take me up on the offer and speak to me about how you're finding this year in particular and about your mental health. And I know that other people have been discussing similar themes on their channels as well, and I think it's a really important part of what we're doing, you know, being involved in this conversation, this big experience that we're all going through together. We're all finding it tough, and we're all having really difficult, dark days through this experience, and for lots of people today is going to be the toughest Christmas that they've ever endured. People will not be spending Christmas Day necessarily with the people that they would choose to, and I know from speaking to some of you that you'll be watching today with nobody else in the building, and I use that phrase because you're not alone, and the point of this is to show you that you're not alone. You're part of a vibrant community who I find incredible in the way that people support each other, the true and genuine friendships that come out of doing this. And so whether you've got people sitting beside you or not, you are not alone today, and you're not alone through this experience. That said, it's difficult when the people that you love aren't with you, and it's particularly difficult when it's through circumstances that are absolutely outside of your control. There will, for sure, for many of us, be lots of empty seats around the table. For some of us, those seats will be filled again next year. For others, those seats might not be filled ever again. And so on a day like today, when the focus is on family, it's more difficult than ever when people are not here who should be. People watching today will miss their parents and their grandparents. They'll miss their friends and neighbours who form part of their Christmas day. There are people watching who miss their in-laws perhaps, and who miss their children. And so I think it's important that we all allow ourselves a moment to think about about the people who we would like to spend today with, but perhaps are not able to do that. So, we are lucky in the United Kingdom that every Christmas, pretty much, we are treated to a very special woman appearing on our TV screens. No, I'm not talking about who you think I am. I'm actually talking about one of literature's best loved characters. She first appeared in print in 1934, but most of us will know her from her big screen appearance 30 years later in 1964 when she got the Banks family sorted out. She then came back when they were in crisis in 2018 to sort them out once again, and 2020, if there was ever a year we all needed a bit of her wisdom and reassurance, this is that year, and she hasn't let us down. You know exactly who I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to introduce this year's Christmas address from none other than the incredible Mary Poppins.
I would like to make one thing perfectly clear. I never explain anything. Except for this. As always, at this time of year, we long to have our loved ones near. Sometimes things will keep us apart. But I take you with me. In my heart, my spoonful of sugar to help this year go down is a reminder that love can travel to any town. And as you sit this Christmas by the fire, know my love for you will never tire. Don't miss me till it breaks your heart, because the sun will set on our time apart. It may feel like steepest mountain to climb, but this longest night is just a step in time. The seconds trickle and the hours fall, and one day you'll have to wait no time at all. Don't search for me like I've gone away, because I'm right beside you every day, like specks of dust in the air. Find me in the joy that springs up everywhere. Frozen adventures, the warmest hugs, the muddiest puddles, hot tea in mugs, forward rolls in stripy socks, loyal puppies, the last chocolate in the box. Look at the moon, look at a star. You'll find I'm not so very far. I might be out that very night, my eyes fixed on that very side, thinking of you as you think of me, of how happy I want you to be. We might read the same story, hear the same song, see the same sights in the road we travel along. My love doesn't weary, doesn't rust, doesn't fade. For to love you forever was the promise I made. Don't shed those tears, because we will be reunited, and I'll be so completely delighted that I'll throw my head back and roar a ferocious supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I'll hold you close with all of my might, and my heart will soar like a flying kite And when I see your smile again on that wonderful day, it will be practically perfect. In every way. Merry Christmas.
In this, to be honest. This is the big moment.
Will we let the dog do it?
What did I even say?
We'll just let Bailey do it.
He can't talk.
Of course he can. He talks all the time.
Amy, he's a dog.
He talks all the time.
You believe this, don't you?
Aye, he does. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, this is the moment you've been waiting for. No, not the end, but nearly the end, because it is time now for The Man in the Hat 3. So if you don't yet have a cup of tea, now is the time to stick the kettle on and get yourself ready.
Get some Christmas chocolate.
Get some popcorn. After eights, always eat an after eight at Christmas.
Yes.
After eights are proper Christmas food. And what else? I like a Viennette ice cream on Christmas evening.
I mean, it's no Christmas if there's no a chocolate Yule log.
Christmas pudding. Actually, we buy my dad a Christmas pudding every year. And every year he doesn't eat it. And actually, we got married in 2018. So the first year we were married, we bought a Christmas pudding when he came, and he didn't eat it. But they have very long sell-by dates, so we served him the same Christmas pudding in 2019, and then I believe he got it as a birthday present.
Yeah, because he still didn't eat it.
So,
to be fair, I don't think that's his fault though. It's my fault for making everybody a full cake as a dessert.
You do. She makes the same number of dessert options as there are people. So we normally have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 people for Christmas. So that's 9 desserts that we've got to try and get through between us after, you know, a 5-course.
I know, I'm so bad.
That's why no one's come this year.
No, I know. I've scared them away with
that and the fact we're all going to die. So, that's us padded for long enough to make a cup of tea. So let's do it.
Yes.
It's the moment that I have been so excited to show you. I should say some of these scenes were filmed a couple of months ago. Everything's been filmed in line with COVID restrictions, so please don't complain. I promise we didn't break any of the rules. But concluding the Scar Ink trilogy and finishing it all up, it is the big production. Thank you to everybody who has been involved, including our assistant producer / camera person, etc. And a very, 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 very special thank you to my BookTube friends who are going to make some cameo appearances, because quite frankly, any BookTuber who is a good enough sport to put their dignity to the side and make a complete twat of themselves just to give you a giggle on Christmas Day is somebody that you should be subscribing to. So thank you to Ange, Kit, Dina, which I said correctly, Scott and Nell, Janelle, Danny, Megan. I hope that's everyone.
Well, sincerely.
And anybody that I forgot. This is The Man in the Hat 3. From Amy and I, wherever you are, whatever you're doing today, whoever you're with, have a very, very Merry Christmas. Bon voyage. You can at least say bye.
Okay. Bye.
Here you go. Have the sequel to Ink. Try not to make such a pig's ear at this time.
Where's all my hair gone? It's not a continuity problem, it's confirmation of a trilogy.
Here you go. Have the sequel to Ink. Try not to make such a pig's ear at this time. What the Dickens? My magic bounced off the reflective cover and thrown me into the mortal world as well. What a disaster. I need to get back into the magical world pronto so I can continue to terrorise narcissistic YouTubers who were utterly unlikable in the first episode. They'll somehow become the hero of the plot hole ridden front guy. To them! No! Oh, shut up!
Who have you ever known in your whole life to be betrayed by a genie? A genie? Seriously, he's a great big Delilah in Disney clothing. That doesn't happen. What? Here you go. What's that? You want me to read the tea? This is hardly the time for fortune telling, and can I tell you this, if you could tell the future, you might have warned me to invest in a hand sanitizer company, not order an Indian the day before they started to do all the panic buying of the toilet roll, and not do a musical episode of BookTube because everybody will unsubscribe when they hear me start to sing. Yes, you did try to take the Indian for me, that is a fair point. And yeah. Yes, you did run out of the room when I started to sing. Alright, I take your point. Alright, okay, fine. I will read the tea. Jeez, oh, flippin' heck. That's the wrong show. It was good though, wasn't it? Right, so we try again.
My magic bounced off the reflective cover and thrown me into the mortal world as well. What a disaster!
The magic bounced off the reflective cover and now he's in the mortal world too? Oh, right, well, fine, your hearing's not that good when I tell you to stop eating the turkey.
No!
Oh, well, shouting about it's not going to help.
Oh, who asked the bald booktuber in?
I'm going to pour you in a bottle and throw you in the Clyde.
I'm not really in the cup, genius. And as we all learned from your musical episode, you're not Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, well, the point is you're not going to get away with this.
Well, we'll see about that. I got an evil plan to finish off, and I'm going to...
If you can still hear me, I am putting the kettle on, I am making a cup of tea, and then I'm going to save the world. Oh.
He's a legend, he's a star. He didn't look for trouble, but it found him. There's 1,000 betrayals still heading his way. His hair is short now, but the hat is here to stay. Oh. Whoa. He's got a voice that'll keep ringing in your ear. You could unsubscribe, but please don't, because he will shed a tear. We found a way to drag the story out to a third part. It's getting quite ridiculous, so this will be the end. What an awkward situation, it's been said so many ways. We've run out of adaptions, but we've still gotta say The Poor Man in the Hat, The Brave Man in the Hat, our hero in the hat.
I knew this would happen eventually. The genie is bitter because he's not allowed to give himself a happily ever after. Oh, this darn computer screen. If only I could get out of here, I could help.
I can't believe Christmas has been completely ruined by that.
You can't say that. Who the hell are you?
You can't say that. What character? I was going to say, I can't believe that character has completely ruined Christmas.
Stop that!
What? Christmas? Good grief, how many more times? Sorry, what exactly is the matter with that? It's a massive continuity issue, that's what the problem is, because this episode is supposed to be taking place about 2 minutes after the last episode, and now it's suddenly Christmas. It makes no sense. It's not Christmas. Just forget what you Christmas. What do you mean? Forget Christmas. Well then, how do you explain
This Christmas, the final chapter.
Obviously, it is Christmas. I mean, this is Christmas Day, but the episode isn't set at Christmas. It just doesn't make sense in the timeline. From a timeline perspective, this is not Christmas. Oh, right. Because if we sort out the timeline, then this whole ridiculous thing makes complete sense. I wouldn't slag the script off if I was you. You are me, you idiot, with the same person, you absolute moron. No, just let me stop you there. This is BookTube with Simon. I am Simon. That means I am the producer. You are the man in the hat. You are a fictitious character created for this drama episode thingamajig. You're not real. Well then, if that's the case, why are you having an argument with a figment of your own imagination? In fact, never mind that. Why are you losing an argument with a figment of your own imagination? Because your wonderful script might call me the man in the hat, but it doesn't tell us what kind of hat now, does it? So what if I'm wearing a Christmas hat? Well, the same kind of hat as all. No. You should have put that in the script then, shouldn't you? I am the man in the festive hat now. Hey!
Once bitten and twice shy, I keep my distance, but you still catch my eyes. Tell me, baby, do you recognize me? Well, it's been a year, it doesn't surprise me. Merry Christmas. I wrapped it up and sent it with a note saying I love you, I meant it. Now I know what a fool I've been, but if you kissed me now, I know you'd fool me again.
quickly cover up your head. Don't you lock the doors, you know the sweet Santa Claus is on the way. Well, I wish it could be Christmas every day.
Feed the world. Feed the world. Feed the world. Let them know it's Christmas time. Feed the world. Let them know it's Christmas time.
How would you like them apples? Well, I mean, I don't really, to be honest. You're ruining the whole thing. You should have written a better script then. Okay, all right, fine. No, fine. You take this attitude. I'll go rewrite the script. I will specify the man in the boring flat cap, and I will also add in a new cameo to the script. Peach from You by Caroline Kentis. You wouldn't. I would. I would. No, you wouldn't. Oh, no, you wouldn't. Stop that. No. No. It is not Panto because it's not Christmas and Pantos are banned this year. Fine. Anyway. Fine. If I agree not to use the C word for the rest of the episode, you have to agree to leave Peach out of this. Deal. How hard was that? Action! Didn't say that I couldn't put on any Christmas music though, did you? Enter Peach! Alright, alright, you win, you win, you win.
Come back! Come back! Oh, for goodness sake.
I need a magical top-up so I can get home, and I need it fast. If that man finds me while I'm mortal, he'll kick my...
Assuming there's nothing else I can do tonight, I'm just going to order a Chinese, stick on the TV and wait for some inspiration. I am not wasting any more time being stressed or miserable because of that.
Dictating when I can go home and a magical flares. Enough to top me up for the journey home, but not so much I end up...
Hi, I'd like to place an order for delivery, please. Yeah, I'll take number...
To determine the right time, I just need to find the position of the moon and calculate the distance between that and my...
Balls. No, no chicken balls, please, no. They make me want to...
Throw up. The results in tomorrow afternoon looks like the right time. What a stroke of luck. By noon, I'll be completely...
Fried rice, please. And actually, I'd really like to try some...
Balls in the park could be an issue. And dog...
Shiitake mushrooms all the way through it, please. Yep, all the way through. Perfect. No, that's everything. Listen, actually, I don't have any cash on me. Is it okay to just give the driver...
Head up to the top of the hill, and it means if that hat-wearing idiot turns up, I'll get a good view of his...
Nuts. I'm allergic to nuts. Yeah. Yes, of course. My number is...
Up the top of the hill, and it's game...
Over the speed bumps, and then I am on the right. Yeah, don't go as far as the traffic lights though, or otherwise you're going to end up stuck in a...
Ditch this place and continue ruining lives. Sorted. have some magic left, to make that idiot feel pain.
Finally! I thought you'd never wake up. I need to tell you how to defeat... Are you alright?
Stop!
You need to listen to me.
Plunge you into darkness.
What the...
And back. I can make you hear my voice.
For goodness sake, you need to listen to me.
Hello, you mortal idiot.
Mortal idiot? Who do you think you're talking to?
Oh, sure. Listen to the genie. Never mind me. I'm just trying to save the day over here.
And stop! Stop! Stop, I said! Oh, brilliant. I've run out of magic. I can't switch the telepathy off. That is nothing but mandatively convenient luck. It's fine. I just need to not think about the fact I'll be at the park in an hour, because that'll be his only opportunity to stop me. Oh, God. Fine. I'll just think something else to confuse him. I'm going to Tenerife now. If you want to stop me, that's where I'll be. Tenerife. There we are. That was a close one. I need to stop thinking now. I'll put on an episode of Love Island.
There we go. We've got a plan. The park. 1 hour from now, we can defeat the genie and live happily ever after. I really hope I don't have to listen to Love Island telepathically. Mind you, I suppose it could be worse, couldn't it? I mean, he could be trying to be really cruel and twist the knife in and do some sort of better musical montage than I ever managed. Some mash-up just to taunt me and show how much better at singing he is. Nah, I mean, we should be grateful that's not happening. And if he was really evil, then he would use the very last droplets of magic he has to make sure he could sing in some sort of wonderful operatic Italian accent to really twist the knife in. So we should be grateful that it's just Love Island, because that level of nastiness just has no place in a Christmas Day special edition, does it? No.
I feels like fire. I'm so in hate with you. Your head is like bad breath. It keeps friends at bay. Friends at bay. I am so right, taking your dreams away. Yeah. I'm so in hate with you and your head. Destruction is my goal. The power of books can be overlooked, but you'll never know. It's the one way to beat me, but won't defeat me, 'cause your hat means you're upright. It's coming down. I'm watching it fall. Then when you're not around, wherever I like is where I roam. The subscriber below has a right month, 'cause your content is rubbish. Hartman, please go away. They all unsubscribing their hundreds. I'm told you'll be best on your tower until you're told. When you first post the stuff during COVID-19, you promised us to make it fun and interesting. You were dreary, you were dumb, my brain was thumping my skull. I've been doing great service to stop you posting more. And with the he is much funnier, I guess this position much sunnier. What's books, yada yada, subscribe to Spenelli Speaks. Message that I ain't shouting out loud and clear for all to hear. BookTube cross Simon out from Christmas Day. 'Cause if you don't like it, then you shouldn't put a lamp on me. If you don't like it, then you shouldn't put a lamp on me. Don't be mad once you see that you don't want it. If you don't like it, then you shouldn't put a lamp on me. Oh 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 oh. Simon is boring, you're not funny, and I'm going to defeat the man in the confounded hat. Kick us to this time. Finish time. Whoop, 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 whoop. Kick us to this time. Finish time. There's some hats in this house, there's some hats in this house, there's some hats in this house, there's some hats in this house. Can your foes do this? Can your foes do that? Can your foes defeat the man in there? Can your friends go? Whoa, well look here. Can your friends go abracadabra? Let it rip! And they make the books disappear. Don't you sit there, Matt, don't sing this song. I'm here to answer to your subscribers' prayers. You think of them out inside, terrified. Musical even gave me nightmares. I got a powerful urge to burn your head. And don't tell no, I'm not going to stay mortal this time as a review like so and oh. Mr. Hartman, zero drop a hint or 2 or 3. I'm gonna fly, you're gonna fry. You ain't never a fool, never had a fool. You ain't never had a fool, never had a fool. You ain't never had a fool like me. You never had a fool like me. Ha!
One musical montage as the night turns into day. These are several minutes you won't get back on Christmas Day. Save us from the genius power, his magic's gone astray. Oh man in the hat, you better watch out, better watch out. Oh man in the hat, you better watch out. Godspeed you merry headman, this story is near the end. We know another installment would just drive you round the bend. Brace yourself, it's only going to more bizarre. We probably took this joke a little little too far. In fact, far too far. Yes, we've taken this whole thing far too far.
Ex Maria Virgine, gaudete, 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 Christus es natus, ex Maria Virgine, gaudete. Tempus ades gratiae, hoc optabamus, camina letiziae, devotere damus. Gaudete, gaudete, Christus es natus, ex Maria Virgine, gaudete, 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 Christus es natus, ex Maria Virgine, gaudete. Deus homo factus est natura merante, mundus renovatus est de Christo regnante.
Whoa! Social distancing, please! I'm 7,000 years old. I need to be shooting in my lamp.
No, that's fair enough. Sorry about that. Just some hand sanitizer.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yes, please.
Good to go.
All set. Back to the death time.
Finally made it to the mortal realm. Sure, violence isn't the answer. That's what I'm trying to tell hat teachers out there. He needs to give Jeannie a happy ending. You're genius. A third book. If I magic this to the park, opening it will give Jeannie his happy ending, cancel his vengeful streak, and sort Simon out too. Okay, viewer, I need you to think as hard as you can. Use the book, Simon. Think it. Keep thinking it. We can do this together. Send the message. Use the book, Simon. Use the book. Use the book, Simon. Use the book.
Use the book, Simon!
Use the book, Simon!
Use the book, Simon.
Use the books, Simon.
Use the book, Simon!
Use the book, Simon.
Use the book, Simon!
Breaking news now, and Her Majesty the Queen has cancelled her traditional Christmas Day speech for the first time in history. In a statement, Buckingham Palace said, "The only message that should be conveyed this year is, one must use the books. We'll bring you more as we have it."
Use the books, Simon. Oh, and, Alexa, subscribe all viewers to BookTube with Simon. Ho ho ho.
Well, this is a very urgent statement. And the statement is simple. It's very simple. Use the books, Simon. Use the books, Simon. That's it. That's all we've got to do.
So I've just signed this, the best executive order. The best executive order ever. And I felt fantastic. And you can see, Simon, use the books.
So come on, use the book, Simon. How many more times? I believe Donald Trump's even told you. So come on, use the books, Simon.
You know what to do, Simon. Use those books. An executive order.
Simon, right. Use the books, Simon. Yes. Get the books used.
Use the book, Simon. Terminate him.
Use the book, Simon.
Use the book, Simon. Just know the one I told you about, because that was pure dead mince. Get the books, Frank.
Use the book, Simon. Let's face it, it's got to be better than you singing again. Talk about an awkward situation.
It's not getting through. We need it louder. We need the loudest voice we can find. Ah, I know.
Use the book, Simon. Use the book.
Use the book, Simon.
Use the book, Simon. Simon.
Use the book, Simon.
Use the book, Simon. Use the book.
That is totally not what I meant. How is that helpful?
You didn't think it would be that easy, did you?
Oh, enough with the whacking of the genie already.
I've got a much better idea. Why did none of you suggest this?
I officially resign as this story's fairy. I can't work under these conditions.
And they all lived happily ever after. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. It's a Christmas stocking. It's a Christmas miracle. Oh, to the man in the hat, you were warned about this. What on earth is in here? Oh, you're an absolute cut.
He's a legend is a star. He didn't look for trouble, but it found him. There's 1,000 betrayals still heading his way. His hair is short now, but the hat is here to stay. Oh. Whoa. He's got a voice that'll keep ringing in your ear. You could unsubscribe, but please don't, because he will shed a tear. We found a way to drag the story out to a third part. It's getting quite ridiculous, so this will be the end. What an awkward situation, it's been said so many ways. We've run out of adaptions, but we've still got to say The Poor Man in the Hat, The Brave Man in the Hat, our hero in the hat. Props to Alice Broadway, 'cause you started this whole thing. You wouldn't get this trouble with Scott and Nell, I know. Are you somewhere out there watching these reviews? Who knows deep down that a hat would suit you too? His hat is just his costume, his cape you could say. Reading is his superpower and it's why we all love